Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Market Close Report for Wednesday, the 25th of February. Well, what a cracker it was for the Aussie share market today. In fact, it was the best day in a couple of weeks. We had the ASX 200 today lifting by 106 points. That is a gain of almost 1.2% to 9,128. It means that we did enough at one stage to actually crack last Thursday's record high. Having said this, it does follow 3 straight days of decline. So really on balance, the market has still been trading somewhat cautiously over the past week, hanging around these record levels. And that's really understandably so because a lot is happening globally at the moment, and that certainly has continued over the course of the day. So pretty impressive performance today, considering we had inflation data, which was handed down today for the month of Jan at 11:30 a.m. Sydney time. It came in hotter than expected over the month, not only for headline, but also core inflation. So essentially on balance, it probably hasn't really changed much as far as what the Reserve Bank's next move is. The market is expecting a rate hike in May. In fact, it's pretty much fully pricing that in now or close to it. And CBA hasn't changed its call for a May rate hike, which would be the second of the year. Now, what today's hotter data did do though, is it just slightly raised the market's pricing for the next time the RBA meets, which is May the 17th. About an 18% chance that the RBA is going to feel brave enough to raise rates at that point. Now, probably unlikely though. I think the RBA is going to want to get another quarter of inflation before then making a decision. Secondly, today we had President Trump's State of the Union address. It was delivered an hour and a half after that inflation data at around 1 p.m. Sydney time. It was his longest State of the Union speech, or the longest ever actually in history from any president, at about 2 hours. He mostly stuck to the script this time during the address, something that is not usually the case. Also, the uncertainty around tariffs and trade policy and AI disruption, that hasn't gone away. And there were about a dozen major Aussie companies releasing their results today. So there is a lot to get through. So let's get cracking. Looking at the sectors today, there were 3 that actually underperformed. We had communication services, consumer discretionary and utilities. But really today it was a case of earnings results driving many of the sectors, and that's why we've had some really significant moves today, especially to the upside. So tech 5.9% higher today. The sector has had a horrid month though, down about 13% just in Feb, but there were a couple of earnings there that drove that. Consumer staples, a similar situation, 5.7% higher. Very much a case of some major companies beating expectations. And then we had materials also doing quite well, as did energy. Both up impressively. As far as different stocks go on the market today, we actually had 6 companies on the ASX 200 lifting by more than 10%. Now that does not happen very often at all. And at the top of the list was betting group Tabcorp. It rose 23.5%. Now its profits for the half today came in well ahead of the market's expectations. Underlying profit, the dividend was up 50%. It also said it's going to spend another $5 million to basically promote and market the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which is coming up pretty soon, actually, the 11th of June. Woolies is up around 13% today as well. It hit a 1.5-year high, reported double-digit lift in half-year profit, which was a beat. Sales and profits also improved across all segments and has been lagging for quite some time now behind its long-term rival, Coles. So it's going to be interesting to see what Coles does with its numbers on Friday. WiseTech, a tech company that has not done well for quite some time, 11% higher today on its results. What seemed to capture the market's attention was job cuts. So basically said it's going to cut about 30% of its workforce, which are put down to AI. So now reckons that the need for developers and customer services dropped back a bit. And Fortescue Metals also out with its earnings, 4.7% higher today. Revenues up 10%. Profit up 23%. The dividend is 62 cents per share, 24% higher than a year ago. 3 things that helped Fortescue. One was the fact that it's shipping more iron ore overseas, about 3% more. Also the iron ore price that it made, or realized iron ore prices, were up 7%, and cost managed to go backwards. Now, as far as the losers go on the market today, Domino's was down around 11% today, slumped to a 3-month low despite swinging into a half-year profit. So one of the things that it's had to resort to is basically reducing the amount of discounting that it's carrying out. And at the same time, that's helped with margins, but not helpful for customers. So it's lost about 10% of its customer base. Viva Energy, 7% lower. It released its results yesterday. It had a few price target cuts from brokers today. Flight Centre, 3.2% lower. The travel group did reaffirm its guidance though. Underlying profits and revenue both rose as well, but the market didn't seem overly impressed and didn't celebrate that. I guess interest rate, an environment where rates are rising, generally not helpful. And Telstra down about 3%. That's because it went ex-dividend today. It's going to pay out 10.5 cents on the 27th of March. The Lottery Corp and oMedia were two others that also went ex today. So let's look forward from here. The big thing to watch this evening or early tomorrow morning will be Nvidia releasing its results. Very much a bellwether when it comes to AI related stuff. So it's going to be important to watch. That's going to be after market close, so that could very well influence markets in the following day. Tomorrow we've got Qantas, Super Retail Group, Ramsay Healthcare, IDP Education, and many others out with their earnings. We'll also have Pro Medicus, JB Hi-Fi and Beach trading ex-div, and Mirvac will be paying its dividend. Looking to currencies quickly, the Aussie dollar firmer against most. It's actually sitting at about 71.1 US cents, but also higher against the euro and the Japanese yen. That wraps it up. Have a great evening, everyone. Make sure you tune in for tomorrow morning's report, and we'll see you then.